We're on. Okay, good morning. As we go to the new chapter, the chapter 18th of Tanya, we are sitting at Chabad today, and we are sitting in the whole world. The whole world can hear us. We are learning the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe is trying to impress upon us, is trying to motivate us to have Avas Hashem, to love the Eibishter, and to have Yiras Hashem, to have fear of God. That should be our focal point in life. The love of God and fear of God. That should be our. That should be everything else is extra. Everything else is extra credit. Our avodah. We came down to the world to serve God. We came down to live to love God. That would and to fear God, to have Avas Hashem, Yiras Hashem on all its levels. And because there are many levels to Ava, there's many levels to fear. But that's ultimately a very tall order. As the Gemara, the Alter Rebbe brought on the Gemara, the Talmud says, when Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Jewish people that all that God is asking you to fear, the Gemara asks a simple question: is fear an easy thing? Is fear an easy thing? That Moshe Rabbeinu says that the Eibush is asking, God is asking, only you should fear him. Fear an easy thing. And if you say, if the Gemara's questions on fear, so it's surely on love. Jews love to fear things. We love Jewish guilt. So fear is easier than love. But if the Gemara asks the question, the Talmud asks the question, is fear is fear an easy thing? For surely love of God is not an easy thing. Because love of God is not a statement. Today in America, I love you. Everybody says I love you. Love, that's we're not talking about talk is cheap. We're talking about true love. Love of the Eibishter. That's our love. I love, that's my primary love in the world is God. And I have a love that is constant. And it never wanes. And it keeps me always doing what is right and not doing what is wrong. Because I love the Eibishter. If I truly love somebody, I would do everything he asked me to do. And if I truly love somebody, I would never hurt him or her. If I truly love them. Not that I say I love somebody or I say I love them. No proof. Proof is in the action. Proof is in the way I live my life. Do I live my life that the primary is God? Or do I live my life that I try to push in God whenever I have time? And I use that all excuses. God loves this, and God loves you love another person, and God loves we love our spouses. Yeah, the Eibishter wants that, no question about it. The Eibishter wants that. He demands that you have to love another Jew, and that's a primary concept in the Torah, to love another Jew, and you have to love your spouse, etc., etc. But there's a concept of mitzvah, the Torah of Avas Hashem, to love the Eibishter, to love God, and that's the journey. And the truth is, if you have a shalom bayis, the best shalom bayis is when both the partners realize that is the journey. We came together as a husband and wife, that we should have a journey of a love of God. Now, to carry this thing is much easier than what? So imagine you have two people in a relationship that is both serving the Eibishter, is both serving God, and both has the same agenda. Wow! Then you have a machaya. Then you have a true beautiful house. Truth is, that's the same thing in the community. The beauty of a community is we come together, we learn together, we daven together. We all serve God together because we all want to have the same agenda. We might have to do it in different ways, but the same agenda. Ultimately, we see that it's a struggle by Jews. This is a struggle. And the question that Alter Rebbe is going to ask, and the answer he's going to give, is the question is, how do we, let's say I don't have any love, I don't feel this love of God. Since my love of God comes through my intellect, ultimately it comes to the way I understand godliness, the way I have this relationship with God through my seichel, through my wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And my wisdom is very limited. for whatever reasons, due to technical difficulties. My wisdom is limited, which automatically my understanding is limited, and therefore my knowledge is limited. And ultimately, it's hard for me to have a true love of the Eibishter. So how do I tap into a love of God, which is very distant from me? The Alter Rebbe is going to tell us how to do it, because he holds that the pasuk says, the Alter Rebbe expresses this on the word ma'od. It's very close to you. It's not just close to you, it's very close to you. That means that it's more closer than you think it is. That means it's close to you whether you think it or you don't think it. Whether you have a knowledge, whether you don't have the knowledge, it is close. It's right there. And that's what he's going to try to impress upon us. To understand that even with a little understanding, even with a little bit of knowledge, I don't have to have much knowledge to love God. Why? Because this thing is right here. I have to have a knowledge for a thing that is far away. I have to have knowledge for something that is extremely a difficult thing for me to comprehend, and I have to push it, sit in the Harvard and learn something that's very distant. It's not a distance. Moed, it's extremely close to each and every one. Because it's in us. It's part of our DNA. Love of God is part of our existence. It's implanted. Right? They say, there's those conspiracies that they planted a chip in everybody, and there's God did that before. He implanted in each and every single one of us something that we have. It's part of our DNA that a Yid loves the Eibishter. So therefore, it doesn't come through intellect. It comes just tapping into self. Just tap into yourself. Let yourself breathe. Let yourself live. Let your soul live. And that's your neshama. Let your soul live. Stop clouding your own soul. Stop putting your own 2 cents in it. Maybe your own 2 cents is messing everything up. Let's see what he says, okay? Chapter 18. That's where we're holding. To explain and more adequately and more precisely, the word very. The verse says, for this thing is very. Why does the verse have to put the word ma'od, very? What is important, that letter, that word, very? Could have said, this thing is very close. This thing is close to you. Why does the pasuk, why does the Torah have to use the word very? It should be recognized with certainty that even the person whose understanding in the knowledge of God is limited, who has no heart to comprehend the greatness of Ein Sof. How can you expect a person that is not so knowledgeable to understand infinity or the light of infinity? These are spiritual concepts. These are very deep concepts. And the Eibishter wants us to love him only through understanding Ein Sof. That's a tall order. You have to be a person who learned Chassidut and learned till it affected him that he starts to think that way. You have to have a Torah head. That your head thinks and touches in a certain kind of manner. The truth is, that's a tzaddik. A tzaddik has a natural thought process. He doesn't think anything else. He simply has his knowledge, understanding is in the aspect of godliness. That's it. He has no other interest in any other aspect of knowledge. And if he does have an interest in other knowledges, it's all for the same purpose. It's how he's going to use out this knowledge for the sake of God, for the sake of his godly soul. He's not interested in any other subject besides as it has a connection to the aspect of godliness. That's what you saw by the Rebbe. Took everything and everyone By him, there was not a concept and not a person that didn't have a purpose for the service of God. He looked across the board of everybody. He wanted he made Tziri Agudas Chabad, he made the youth of Chabad organization, he made the Sheikh Chabad, the women of Chabad, he made Tzivas Hashem. He empowered even the children. He made an army of God. Who looked at children for years? Nobody looked at them. They were there to be seen, not to be heard. And then the Rebbe made it Tzivas Hashem. He said, no, I'm going to empower the kids. We're going to create the army of God. The commander-in-chief, and he created a whole system of points, and you move up from private to your general. Moshe gave, why? You have to harness every aspect in the world. From children to men, women, there's no difference. Everybody has their purpose. And everybody has a voice. What happens if you don't do that? Then everybody starts looking for the voice someplace else. That's what happens. You don't live in a vacuum. And people want to have a voice. Whether it's children or adults, they want a voice. You don't give them a voice, they'll find the voice someplace else. So if the Torah doesn't have a voice for me, so where am I going to find my voice? The Rebbe showed, and that's a tzaddik, that everybody has a voice. Every entity in the world, not only Jews, but even non-Jews. Every entity in the world, every creation in this world has a voice. The Rebbe would always say, the Mishnah, it says, whatever God created, in his world, he created for his glory. And therefore, everybody, rich, poor, healthy, sick, children, men, women, Jews, non-Jews, it didn't make a difference to him. Everybody was created in the image of God for the purpose of God's mission in the world. And that's what, if you knew the Rebbe from Yud Shvat, mission oriented. It was focused his whole life. Mission oriented. And he wanted that every person, as the Rebbe would say, known by the Rebbe, he didn't say it, but the Rebbe was known, he didn't want followers, he wanted leaders. The Rebbe once heard him say that I need a minion over here. Everybody should go move out. Move out. Become leaders in community. I need a minion. And everybody else should move. Because the Rebbe wanted everybody else. There's millions of Jews in the world. And you need to touch every Jew. How are we going to touch every Jew if we're not going to go out? If we're not going to become leaders and say, we got to go out. How long are you going to learn? You be followers. You got to learn. Lilmed ulalamed. That's what it says in the Mishnah. Lilmed is great. Learning is great. But you got to go to lamed. You got to go to teach somebody else. There's a Jew out there. There's somebody out there that needs your help. Get to work. Stop so focus on yourself so much and get to work on somebody else. Baruch Hashem. Wherever you go in the world today, even in Boca, you can be busy 24/7. Every one of us could be busy. And we should be busy. Because that is why God brought you to the world. Is to bring godliness in front of Avraham Avinu. What did Avraham Avinu do? What did he do? He made the world call out in the name of God. That's what Avraham Avinu. That started the journey. He made the world call out in the name of God. He took all his wealth and all his power for one purpose. He was not interested in the wealth or the power for itself need. By him, the purpose was how we're going to reach out to more people. How we're going to bring godliness to more people. That started Avraham Avinu. We all need to do the same. We all need to do the same. We all need to go out there and bring godliness to the world. Right? That's it. But a tzaddik, That's his. How do I, as a regular person, create this concept? I'm a simple boy. I don't understand this concept so deep, so much in depth. It's a nice thing, sounds to me, but I'm after for this class, I'm think about where I'm eating lunch, where I'm gonna eat dinner, and what I'm gonna do this week. People tell me like, what I don't know. I'm retired. What do I do? How can you? What do you want to do? Open a Kabbalah, see your house. That's it. Open a Chabad. Start to get to work. Start inviting people. Start having classes. Start teaching. Say go put up people tefillin. You can go from door to door, store to store. Why is it only the Lubavitchers that need to do that?
Retirement is not a real word. It's the next phase of your journey.
Even if you don't retire, what's the difference? There's a lot to do in this world. There's a lot to accomplish. We need to bring Mashiach to the world. We need to bring godliness to the world. What are we doing? So he produces, so he blessed be he, to produce thereon a love of God, even in his mind and understanding alone. He simply doesn't have the capacity to create a true love of God, even intellectually. Again, we're not talking about Alter Rebbe is not looking for fake love, just to say I love God, just like I say I love you and other people. It's a nice statement. The Alter Rebbe means I'm creating a true Avas Hashem. I create in my mind that I truly love the Eibush, I truly love God. Unconditional love.
So are they trying to say that I fear God and I love God? It's on the same level?
Why not? Because I love God, that's why I fear God.
Always had a problem when they would say you need to fear God, because I've never feared him, because I've always respected the idea of God. So when they used to say you need to fear God, I never understood that concept of fearing him, because he's my father, he's my everything. So when they said you have to fear him, I never was able to swallow those words of fearing him. Now you're saying fearing and loving are on the same level.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? People that say I want to say something now that a lot of people are not going to like, but people that say I don't like the word fear, extremely selfish. It's selfish. If you say I don't like the word fear, it's really a selfish kind of a statement.
I don't like the word.
I don't like the word. It doesn't sound good. All these expressions. Oh, it's a selfish kind of a thing. It's a selfish, immature thing.
You gonna explain why you think that?
Because there is you should have fear when you coming to put your hand in the fire. You fear it.
Right.
That's it. It's not not stupid thing. We thank God that we all fear to put our hand in fire. Because if we didn't fear, we would put our hand in fire. So it protects us. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I fear walking across the street on a green light because I should fear,
Right.
because a car's going to hit me if I'm not going to fear it. It's a simple concept. We don't like the word, so that I do fear. The car hitting me, I do fear. But suddenly when it comes to God, I can't handle the word fear. It's because suddenly, like, God cannot have the concept of a car hitting you suddenly. You know what I mean? It's because it's an immature kind of expression, that people have. And they should realize you should fear. You should fear putting a hand into that socket. Okay? So don't be a chacham troop to me. I'll put the hand in a socket. You're gonna get a zetz. You're gonna get a jolt. It's 110 volts. You're gonna put your hand in a socket. You're gonna fear, right? Sometimes children don't fear, right? And they put their hand in a socket because they don't fear that socket. They'll put their finger one time in that socket. They'll realize, oops, you know what? I better put my hand in that socket. So fear is not a terrible thing. It saves us from a lot of things. Fear saves us from a lot of trouble in life. Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter put into our system. Some people, chas shalom, you find some people that come to a certain level in their brains, they don't fear. Person that has Alzheimer's, person that has chas shalom, dementia. So they don't fear. They can walk in the street. They'll walk into the street. They have no fear. They don't matter, right? They have no fear. They'll walk into the street. They'll walk out at night. They'll go someplace. I was at a situation. Somebody told me his mother they found her a couple blocks later. She went into somebody's house and started hitting the people in the house. Thank God that the people that she went into didn't respond it correctly. Done it correctly, but she had no fear. There's nothing wrong with having fear. We need to be intellectual people. There's nothing wrong with having fear of God.
Why are you calling it selfish?
And because it's very same basic is in a way intellectual saying, oh, I don't have to fear God. I don't have to fear him. I have to fear the car. God, I don't gotta fear. He cannot hit me with the car. He cannot, I can do whatever I want, walk in the middle of the street with God. I don't have to fear him. It's not true. It's not true.
Could you say
you gotta fear the car, and you gotta fear the fire, and you gotta fear that putting your hand in a socket? You should have a little fear of God.
another way of
You should be careful. Be careful. He's not your buddy. He's not your pal. You know what I mean? Be careful. Be careful. Respect. Respect it in a simple way. There's a deeper respect and the awe of God, but there's a simple concept.
So it's more of an awe.
Respect, or but it's a fear. Respect. You come into a shul, respect it. The Eibush is there. Respect. Don't throw a thing on the floor. Don't throw a cup. Don't leave a cup on a table like this. Simple respect. And the truth is, doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult, people need to learn respect. You're coming into a place, the Eibush is here. God is here. He's watching. Standing on top of you. Have some decency. Have some respect. Have some fear. That if you're gonna be disrespectful to him, you might get a zetz.
Why
You're gonna
can't
walk
it
into
be
the road.
all?
You're gonna walk in the middle of the road. You're gonna get hit by a car. Is that why did the car hit me? Because you're walking in the middle of the road, chacham, and have a little fear on walking out crossing Lions Road. Don't think that you're the boss of the road. No, have a little fear. Somebody might hit you.
So why can't it be awe and not fear?
I'm not arguing with you. It could be awe, but there needs to be also a little fear. As
But
the
fear
Rambam,
is a little bit of awe. See,
reward
when you
and
say
punishment
fear,
part
a
of
lot
Torah.
of people,
It's
a lot
not. The Torah says you do A, you're gonna get B. That is reality. Don't play with God.
Fear, so he got
You're right.
everything that came down.
That's correct.
Because he
Had no simple fear.
no fear.
Correct.
So Hashem said.
could you repeat that?
He says the example you have. The Pharaoh had no fear. Simple fear. The Eibush punished him. We got people. There's nothing wrong to say that I have fear of God. There's not the worst thing, not the terrible thing to say that I am a simple person and I have fear of the Eibishter. I don't play around with him. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing immature, there's nothing intellectual. It's a basic concept. The Eibishter is God. He has full control. And if the Eibishter wants that it can happen to me, it will happen to me. I need to have simple fear for him. I'm not putting my hand in the fire. I'm just not going to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Should a person reach up to the level that he has awe of God, that he doesn't do things, goes to the real 100%. I'm not arguing with you with that. We should. But there's nothing wrong with having a little fear, Yirah Shamayim, having fear of the Eibishter. That you know what, if the Eibishter asks me to do B and I do A, I'm putting my hands in fire. You have free choice. Put your hands in the fire. Gesund to hate. Nobody's going to stop you from putting your hand in, but you might get burned.
So what do they call it? Yiras Hashem and not Pacha Hashem.
They call it all. Yiras Hashem. There's as we learn in Chassidus, there's a lower fear and the higher fear. There's a many different expressions and many levels in the Yiras in Yiddah. There's many levels. There's a lower level and there's higher levels. But as a child, the Gemara says, if you hide the whip from the child, you hate the child. It doesn't mean you have to hit the child. No, if you hit the child, you're now past that. The child has to know that there's punishment in the world. That there's cause and effect. If not, you might think, oh, this is not the right way to do things. The Gemara says you hate the child. We're all a child in a way. We all have immaturity in a way. And we have to know that the Eibishter is the boss and he's the father. And he has the capability, is the whip on the wall. He has the capability to I don't want to use the word, to hurt us.
Thank you very much. You just corrected.
And that doesn't make him a bad father.
So
That doesn't make him a bad God
Rabbi,
because there's fear.
the idea that we're fearing going against God's words, his rules, is a given. It just doesn't. That's why it's not said, but it's not God himself. It's fear of God going against what God wants of us.
I'm lost. I understand the difference what you just said.
It's not written. Fear your behavior against God's rules.
Why is it not written that way?
Because I don't see it written.
It's sure it's written.
Oh.
You shall fear God.
But
And you shall follow his rules and
right,
fear him.
But that part is a given. It doesn't have to be written down.
It has to be written down.
Oh, so it's written somewhere.
It's written.
Okay.
Why is it not written? It's 100% written.
Okay. I never read it, but
What
okay.
do you mean? In the Shema, you say. In the Shema, it says, you better be careful of these laws. If not, I will close the heaven. I will make the earth dry. What do you mean? It's written. It's written over and over. Why is it not written? It's 100% written. And you say it in the Shema every day. So the Eibishter says, you're not going to follow my commandments. I'll close the rain for coming down. You want to play with me? I'll play with you back. The 49 curses, it could be more written than that. It's written, The Eibishter says, you play with me, I play with you. You're playing with me, you're playing with fire. You want to play with fire? I'm not taking away your choice from playing with fire, but it's fire. It's fire. The Eibishter said it's fire. You're playing with fire. That's an immature level, self-understood. But we are immature. We are immature. I don't think it's a great thing to say that I'm an immature person. I'm a mature person. I'm this intellectual. I fully am in control of myself. I'm immature. I'm like a child who's out of control, right? When you see a child acting out of control, usually it's like, oh, look how cute he is, right? When he throws his food, say, oh, wow, he's cute. We hug him, we kiss him. Yeah, when you're an adult, you start throwing your food. We lock you up. We throw you out. But we are immature. Sometimes they throw our food. We act immature. And nobody says, wow, how cute he is. He say, oh, this is disgusting. This is not right. Why is he acting immature? Tzaddik is a person, I would say, if you want to bring in the simple words, he's a mature man or a woman. They're mature. They don't say boo. They accept everything. They understand their journey. They understand their ups and their downs. They understand their struggles. They understand. They're totally mature. I'm not a tzaddik. That's not a righteous man. And therefore, I'm not mature. I don't have the total capacity of mind over matter. And I don't have the total capacity of my actions. I do things that are stupid. I say things that are stupid. I do things that are stupid. I have emotions to things that are not so holy, which is stupid. Why? Simply, I don't fear. I don't have Yiras Hashem. What should I tell you? I don't have Yiras Hashem. I put my hand in the socket. And I know that after I put my hand in the socket, I say the stupid thing, I get burnt. I usually get burnt. And then I have to ask an apology, whether it's from somebody else or from God. I get burnt. I get a response, usually. Between man and man, I usually get a response. The man and God, sometimes I don't get the response right away. It's a little delay. But to man and man, if I say the wrong thing, I get the response. Person says, you're not a nice person. I get burnt. I say, oh, well, you're right. I shouldn't have said that.
Is that why when something bad happens to you, you're supposed to go back through what?
100%. That's what the Torah says. 100%. You have to connect the dots. When something bad happens to you, is the Eibush responding maybe? Or surely the Eibush is responding. God is responding.
I want an answer.
I'll try my best.
I'm serious.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you know that I got hurt on the first day of Sukkot. And I said to myself, the reason I got hurt, then when the sheep pan hit my head, is because when the shofar was blowing on Yom Kippur, I felt tired and I didn't walk to shul to hear the shofar blow. And I said that the reason that I got hurt is because I didn't go to shul to hear the shofar blow, that Hashem punished me for not going to shul. And I took the blame that Hashem gave me a patch because I did wrong.
You can say that. You
And
could say
I
that.
took the complete blame, so I've never complained to him.
The problem with that statement is, and I hear a lot of these statements, because most people come out and say, you see, God hates me.
I know, I didn't say he hated me.
That's what happens. So I'm saying, when people sometimes connect the dots, and they come with a negative response. Look, God hates me. See, God hates me. If God didn't hate me, why is he giving me all this tzaddis? And that's where you're using it out for the negative. So if you use it out for the positive,
Right.
then it's 100%.
And
You should
now-
use it out.
now
You should
I
do that.
say, my son just got engaged, and I say, thank you, Hashem, for giving me my service, that you took it away, so now my son got.
Amen.
fixed it up,
Beautiful.
And he corrected what
Beautiful.
I needed to correct.
You're a mature person. You're a mature person. That's maturity. That is mature. That is a mature response. Beautiful.
For giving me her.
Phenomenal.
And then saying, here I'm retired, I got to retire at 55. Because
Baruch
I had to
Hashem.
stop work,
That's it.
and that was that.
That's
So-
it. That's the way you have. That's a mature. That's a mature individual, which not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. And you can't blame somebody who cannot do that. I'm not blaming, no, it's not a blame game. But it's a concept of maturity. It is a concept of being a mature adult.
Okay, that's why I said I wanted.
I put up a thing on my Facebook today. I put up a statement. And if I put up a statement on my Facebook, usually I'm talking to myself. So
You're putting it.
you will always have problems. Learn to enjoy life while solving them.
Oh, I like that.
That's a book original?
Nope, none of them are originals. But I put up a thing. I put up usually things that talk to me, because it's true. I put up things that talk to me, because it talks to me this concept that I know that I'm going to have problems in life, and that is life. Until Mashiach comes, there's going to be problems, and learn to enjoy life while solving them. And that's what we need to do. Learn to enjoy life while solving them. If the problem becomes that it becomes you, the problem changes you, then the Aveda then you lost an opportunity. If the problem changes you, then you're letting the problem change you, and you're not having Yiras Hashem. You're not putting the problem in the right perspective. That it's the Eibishter, there needs to be a solve, and there still needs to be serving God with joy, and there has to be both of these things, and that's a mature thing. It's not easy. Not easy. Sometimes it works on me. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm a human being, and everybody is not perfect. We're not just perfect individuals. We're not tzaddikim. We're not mature. That's it. I'm just giving it a simple thing. We're just simply not mature. Imagine that statement us read to you. We lived our life that way. That's a tzaddik. A tzaddik. You think your tzaddik doesn't have problems? He has problems like anybody else. Just mature. Simply mature person. And he understands kvetching and complaining is not going to help your problem. It's not going to help you. It's just going to make you miserable and everybody else miserable. Take the problems, try to solve it, and enjoy yourself while you're solving it. You have to be mature. Yeah.
No, I was listening to every word you said, and I was thinking about the gratitude. Like you have to have gratitude too, like you're saying that your problems could, whatever happened, your problems could have been worse. Thank Hashem that you're able.
That's another thing. That's another concept. That's another concept. The Rebbe writes in a Yom Yom of the day. The Rebbe writes the Moida Ani of a Yid. You heard, I just read it today in the morning. It's a beautiful Hayom Yom today. Beautiful, 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 really beautiful Hayom Yom. And the truth is, you see that Chassidus, does both hands. It does Chesed and Gevurah. It gives you both concepts to hang on any kind of a way, whether it's becoming mature or whether it's thing of hanging on to other things. And look at the Hayom Yom that the Rebbe writes today. The day, a Jew day begins with Moidani. We know that the Rebbe once said that this was his favorite prayer, the Moidani. He loves the Moidani. And the Rebbe writes over here today, he says the beginning, a Jew's big day begins with Moidani. This is recited before you wash negavas, before you wash your hands. Even though his hands are still impure. There's no impurity in the world that can taint a Jewish Moidani. His grateful acknowledgement of God. He may lack in this or that elements of his divine service, but his Moidani stays intact.
This is the previous Rebbe.
No, this is the Rebbe. The Rebbe writes in Hayom Yom. He wrote it in 1990. This is written
it was all from the previous.
Most of his statements are the previous. I don't know if this statement. Usually, when he says the previous Rebbe, he usually says it in the name of the previous Rebbe. But there's no author to this. Maybe it's his statement. So that's the beauty. Understand that ultimately the Moidani stays, the Jew stays intact. Don't lose your Yiddishkeit. Don't lose your essence over. Be mature. Be mature. Helping a child. We need to be mature about things. We see in general when people get hung up on what the Torah says, it's total lack of maturity. The person that doesn't want to sit down and think about it. He wants to find the that he's not comfortable with. It says become mature when you're comfortable, not comfortable with. Be mature. This is life. It's real world. Gotta be cake and eat it. Thinking you have your cake and eat it is immature. And saying that God cannot say you're not going to have your cake and eat it is also immature. It's just immature. It's like a child who screams when slams the door when his mother or father says something. Slams the door. I hate you. It's immature. Hopefully the parents don't get angry because it's immature. They'll grow out of it. One day they'll mature. Bezrat Hashem. One day they'll realize when their kids are slamming the door, they'll realize that it's immature. And there's nothing wrong. You're not going to get angry at a teenager that's immature. You understand it's immature as a parent. You understand it's immature. That's why you can't get angry on another yid either, because it's just immature. I'm not here challenging it because I'm immature like anybody else. But you got to recognize it's immature. This is not a mature response.
Rabbi,
Yes.
Rabbi, the discussion today on all the Tanya that I'm listening to, besides this incredible class, is ego versus divine soul, the battle.
Right.
When you define maturity, let's really define maturity it's a process of bittul. It's a process of learning Torah, learning about God, learning his wisdom, feeling compassion about Kadosh Baruch Hu, the compassion for the soul within, and learning to bittul the ego and have your will, God's will.
Yeah.
And that is the definition of maturity. But we need to
I
define
agree.
that.
I'm not arguing.
more.
I agree with you. Most people won't say that. They won't say they will say they would like to say it's ego, not maturity. Because everybody thinks they're mature. I'm just bringing it down to the lowest denominator, the truth. That you need to be mature. It's just simply you need to grow up.
And what does that mean?
It means that you need to learn, you need to understand things, you have to see the bigger picture. It's a mature, it's an act of maturity. It's
not just about me. Exactly. The world doesn't revolve around me. And
correct.
yes.
And it's
So
very difficult. But
Okay.
you're not going to tell an adult that he's immature. It doesn't sound good.
It depends on where they're holding in their relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Are they on that page?
My point, it's not a relationship with Kadosh Baruch Hu, it's a relationship with yourself.
Yes, but what self?
Ultimately, your
Which
relationship
self?
with Kadosh Baruch Hu will make yourself a better person.
Exactly. That's what
Okay,
you
so
need
you
to say.
yourself,
Thank you.
I myself, are going to become mature.
The people
I'm
sitting
gonna
around
grow
this
up.
room want to understand what maturity looks like through the lens of Torah and godliness. If you look at the secular world, maturity is iPhone, me, and there's nothing else.
Maturity means I take responsibility. Number one,
Yes.
I take responsibility. Number two, that I realize that this responsibility is not only to myself but to somebody else.
Yes, agreed.
Number
Good.
three, it's not only a responsibility to myself and not only to someone, it's a responsibility to God.
Yes.
Who gave me a soul? So it's a three-pronged responsibility.
Thank you for your definition. That's what I
Thank you very much. And that can take years to ultimately become a mature individual, and not to get stuck on the words, on expressions. It's not to get stuck on those things, because that's our immature side of us trying to cop a word, trying to grasp on a word, kind of grasp on a headline, and that's the whole world today, the headlines. Immature world. Look at the world. They're marching. It's all immature people. No maturity. They don't know what they're doing. Bunch of children following some stupidity.
Following.
Sit down and talk to each one. They don't even know what they're doing. Separate them. Put down each person to themselves. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying.
The Rebbe wanted leaders, not followers.
Correct. Be mature people. And that's why the Abisha chose a nation to be mature. The Abisha chose a nation to be mature. He knew the world, this would be a very difficult, tall order. Extremely tall order. Ata b'chatana, the Abisha chose a nation to become a mature nation. To be a light unto the world. What means to be mature? What means to be an adult? What means to take responsibility? What means to look at something? He turned it off. And to ultimately connect the dots and to do what is right. Okay, let's go weiter. Let's go into the Tanya. Because the Alter Rebbe is going to say that even though you're immature, even though you're immature and you act like a baby, nevertheless, you have this godly soul. You have this Maidani. You have this godly soul. I didn't give this godly soul only to mature people. I gave this godly soul to each and every one of you. I didn't evaluate who's going to be able, who's going to be good, who's going to be bad, who's going to be holy, who's going to be unholy. I didn't do that. I gave every single one of you this spot. I impregnated, I put within you, each and every single one of you. I installed within you this godly soul, and therefore, even as an immature person, you still can be godly. Godliness is not only for the mature people, not only for the holy people, because God is above holiness and unholiness, right? That's the Maidani. The Maidani can be impure, you still say Maidani. What does that tell you? That you know you might have a bad day today, you might fall into all this immaturity, you still have your Maidani, you still have your godly soul. Because he loves you, the Abish loves. Seems like the Abish loves a lot of immature people.
If the image enjoys watching it grow and manifest itself to better.
No, because the Abish, my point, I would say, the Abish sees an immature person once in a while becoming mature. That's a success story. That a mature person does everything right. What do you expect? He's mature. He does everything correct. When you see an immature person that still nevertheless tries to become mature, overcomes his immaturity, even his immaturity still struggles and comes, that's a success story. Now we're on a journey together. With a tzaddik, it's God's journey. With us, it's God and our journey. We are both in the struggle together. We are both in the struggle together. That's the father who comes to this, who helps the son. He knows his son is struggling. He knows his son is not having a good. He's for whatever reason is not having the best of situations. But he goes down and he's there for his son. He has unconditional love because he will every step that the son does, every nachas, every joy that the son gives him is everything. Is the maidani, is the essence. Because the father loves the essence of the child. Right? Abish loves the essence of the child. Abish loves the essence of every child of his. We have to take that into our minds. We have to realize that. So that's what it's going for. He produces therefore all the love of God, even in his mind understanding alone. However, it's very near thing to him to observe and to practice all commandments of the Torah and to study Torah, which is counterbalanced to all of them all, in every mouth and heart, from the depths of his heart, in true sincerity, with fear and love, namely the hidden love in the heart of all Jews, which is an inheritance to us from our fathers. The Rebbe would say, you have the expression, the Gemara says, can every Jew do Torah mitzvahs l'shma? Can every Jew do Torah and mitzvahs for the sake of heaven? God wanted that every Jew should do Torah and mitzvahs for the sake of heaven. L'shma. It's his mitzvah, right? God came up with 248 commandments. I wouldn't come up with them, right? David came up with 248 positive commandments, and he wants you should do it for the sake of heaven. So the Gemara says, is it possible to do every mitzvah for the sake of heaven? Are you serious? So the Gemara says, right. The Gemara says, correct. Do it for not the right reason. Shaloi lishma. This is the Gemara. Talking about 2,000, 3,500 years ago. Do it shaloi lishma. Take shaloi lishma, but doing it for not the right reason, you'll come to do it to the right reason. Right?
Fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
The Rebbe says you're learning the Gemara wrong. You're not learning the Gemara correctly. There's no such thing as fake it till you make it. That's a nice statement. Because you can fake it your whole life. There are people fake their whole life. So if the Gemara says fake it till you make it, so then you have people fake it their whole life. They're not making it. So what is the meaning of the Gemara? Fake it till you make it. Doesn't make sense. What does it mean, Gemara? The Gemara should say, how does the Gemara answer? So the Rebbe, and so is the Alter Rebbe, says over here, you learned the Gemara wrong. The Gemara says, fake it, because in the faking is the right reason. Mitoich shelei lishma, in the essence, the
Could
fake
you repeat that? In the faking is the what?
is the right reason. Mitoich shelei lishma, in this fake, you're doing it with your neshama, see, it's the right reason. That's why mitzvahs ain't tzricha kavana. The Gemara says a mitzvah doesn't have to have any kavana, because when you do a mitzvah, you're doing it with your neshama ultimately. So that is the right reason. And that's how we learned the Gemara. So fake it. The Gemara is telling you fake it. You think you're faking it? You're not faking it. You think you're faking it. You're not faking it. Because you're doing it with your neshama, and that's real. So you're not faking it. Everybody is doing mitzvahs because of their neshama, because they're Maidani. And therefore, nobody's faking it. That's what the Gemara is saying. The Rebbe flipped over the whole Gemara. There's no such thing as faking it to making it. There's no such thing as faking it in essence. There's no such thing as faking. Everything that a Jew does is real. He might think he's faking it. He might think he's doing it not for the sake of God. He's doing it for the sake of God. Because, trust me, if he didn't have a godly soul, he didn't have a hidden love, he would never do it. A Jew never does anything that he doesn't want to do. We're a stiff-necked nation. We don't do anything we don't want to do. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. We say that to another, we say that to God too. Nobody tells us what to do. And so therefore, why are you doing it? Not because you're faking it, because you have a godly soul. And that godly soul is putting on tefillin right now. And that's the right reason. So what you're faking it is not real. It's not that stuff. You are in a delusion. That's the way Sidis wants you to look at yourself. Forget about look at another Jew. Look at yourself. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal concept that you have to realize. So we're really all mature. After telling you all, you're all immature. Alter never tells you, no, you're mature. You might think you're immature, but really you're mature. You have a godly neshama that is pure, that is untainted, that serves the Eibishter. When you're putting on that tefillin, you're keeping, when you're doing that mitzvah, that neshama is doing it with you, and that neshama is doing it for the right reason. And he's doing it through you. He couldn't do it without you. Your neshama cannot accomplish this unity with God in this world without me. So I might be dreaming. My neshama is alive. It's expression. Ani yeshena v'li b'yer. It's a pasuk. I might be dreaming. I'm putting on tefillin. I'm thinking about the baseball game. So I'm doing shlei l'shma with my body. My soul is davening. My soul is davening. He's davening. He's having the time of his life. Sure, he would love that the body would be the two, and there would be a total unity between body and soul. But your soul is alive. He's davening. He's praying. So even when I do something for somebody else, or I do a mitzvah, I give tzedakah, or whatever it might be, I do it for a selfish reason. By neshama, is doing it for the right reason. He's part of the action. He's part of the deed, and therefore, the neshama, the maidani of the Jew, is not tainted.
Therefore, fear is selfish, like you said, because the neshama is doing it for the right reason.
Correct.
Joy.
Correct, 100%. 100%. The neshama only has joy. The neshama only has the concept of Ava, love of God. And he's talking, the neshama has awe of God. He's the highest levels of awe. My body is, my nefesh habam is my body, myself is a different world. But my neshama has not gone anywhere. And that's an inheritance. That is part of your DNA. You inherited that. That you have a godliness soul that is totally mature. And while you're doing everything, is part of this mitzvah. That is inherited to you by the Eibishter, by the patriarchs, ultimately, out to the emphasis. However, we must first a clear, precise explanation of the origins of the essence of this love, how it became our inheritance, and how awe is also incorporated, and how ultimately the awe of God. So the love of God, I know, but ultimately given to us by our patriarchs. But how within this concept is also the awe of God within it. But what a beautiful teaching of the Chassidus! What a beautiful teaching of Alter Rebbe. Transform the whole concept in our relationship with God, and to realize that we are mature people. Ultimately, we are mature, and we ultimately have to change our nefesh habahamis, our basic tendencies to also become mature. Really, our seichel to become mature. But really, we are mature. We have a godly soul that is totally mature and understands its purpose and its agenda that it came down to. Okay, have a wonderful day, everybody. God bless you all.
Thank
We
you.
shall continue to learn